So the video from a couple of days ago went quite a long time. I didn't think we were going to get through all 10, so I'm glad you were able to come back and join me a couple of days later so we can continue the discussion of getting your home ready to sell. I'm joined again with Brad Best, top real estate agent in Northeast St. Petersburg, specializing in waterfront homes in Riviera Bay. So anybody that saw our previous videos, welcome back. And we'll continue on with number 6 on our list, which is price it right from the start. Brad, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So one of the things that I always look at when I have a client that's interested in looking at properties is I like to take a look at that days on market. And for me, as soon as I see that days on market, that can tell me whether or not that listing agent and that seller were on the same page as far as where they started out on the price point. So if we backtrack from there, when I'm speaking to my clients, we'll go through the comps as we spoke about before, and then we'll talk about list price versus sales price, meaning that we're going to list it at this price point. That'll create enough interest, and I expect the property to sell in this range. So if I see something that's been on the market for 60 days, clearly they've missed that price range because, as we spoke before, even though everything that's going on right now in America with COVID, I still think that 14 to 21 days is about where you should probably go under contract if you've priced your home right. And if you start out priced wrong, I think you're going to have that spiral into 6 months very, very quickly.
Well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And also that timeline of 14 to 21 days, 21 days on the outside. If you've done all of the things that we talked about to get to this point, if you have prepared the home, done all of these things, then your home should sell within the first 14 days.
Yeah.
Now, there are some exceptions to that. Obviously, if you've got $1 million plus properties, or they're in a unique location, or they have an interesting floor plan that will only work for certain people, then of course, we're talking generalities here. We're talking the average 3 to 4 bedroom home, original floor plan, nothing funky about it, in good shape, priced correctly. This is where you should be. So there are some outliers, but generally this is what we're discussing. Pricing it right, to me, if you don't price a home correctly from the start, oftentimes I see people chasing the market down to find where that buying pool is. And oftentimes they'll sell the home below where they could have sold it for if they would have priced it appropriately from the start. And I think today, even more importantly, is that you really need to be looking at the comparables and pricing the home in the correct range. And I've had this conversation with several sellers, and the ones that listen to me and follow the directions, they end up being very successful in selling their home. So if we look at, the last 3 homes that have sold for, let's say, 480 to 500,000. So let's price this one at 500,000 if it's comparable to all the others. Let's not price it at 525 and bring the price down over the next 60, 90 days. Price it at 500. Buyers that have been in the marketplace and missed out on those last 3 sales between 480 and 5 will see, this one's been priced appropriately, not way out on left field. And oftentimes within that first week to 2 week period, you'll get an offer that's full price. You may even get a full price offer that first weekend, or you may end up having 2 buyers bidding on that home. You and I were talking yesterday about a client in Riviera Bay that saw a listing come on the market at 600,000. You were able to get into that property before it was actually listed because it was marketed as coming soon back when we were able to do that. And he ended up negotiating with the seller above full price just to get that house because he didn't want it to go to market. So that seller was expecting a lower ultimate sales price, but because of pricing it appropriately, having the home in perfect condition for this buyer, it made the sale a higher number.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is we all have access to the comparable sales, right? It's not like there's a secret house out there that's sold that magically makes your home $50,000 more than everybody else. So if we all do our homework between the seller and the agent, when we put it out onto the market, buyers that are educated, that have been looking for homes, and agents that have a pulse of the current market can look at a price and go, you know what, that's priced pretty accordingly to where the market is right now, or why is that house so overpriced it's going to sit for a long time? So you kind of create a story, if you will, of what's the list price? Did they do their homework? Does that make sense? And then you're going to have a lot of buyers look real quick. Whereas if the house was worth 5 and you listed at 575, you're probably going to have a kind of a slow, I guess the showings are going to be slow out of the gate, which when you list the home, you want as many showings as possible in the shortest amount of time.
One of the things that we have found to be very successful over the last 4 or 5 years is listing homes on a Thursday, late in the day, early Friday morning, worst case scenario, having an open house that very first weekend, and trying to get buyers to only come late Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and then they see the open house sign. And oftentimes what's happened when I've done it this way, and we've done all of the other 5 things prior to getting to this point, is that buyers come in, they see a buyer leaving the house, they see another buyer showing up when they're ready to leave, and it's like, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. It's home's priced right, clearly, look at all these buyers around me, and there's an open house tomorrow. I don't want to lose this one. And I've had agents write offers at full price, short inspection periods, a good escrow deposit. The offer's nice and clean. The seller has some room to kind of pressure the contract to be swayed more in their favor. And buyers have had their agent write in, no open house on Sunday if we get it under contract on Saturday.
Right.
You know, that's when you know you've done the right strategy from the start.
And you said something a little bit earlier about listening. You know, if the seller and the agent are on the same page, and the seller is willing to listen to their agent and do everything as much as they possibly can that the agent has asked for, that launch is fantastic, and that works. Our group has adopted that philosophy. List on a Thursday as late as possible. You follow up with that open house on that Sunday, and that creates all that momentum, and you usually put that house under contract by the end of the weekend. So it's a great thing, or it's a great experience for everyone when everybody's on the same page. Seller trusts their agent. They do all these things right. It just makes the launch so much more easier.